So hello, welcome to another video. And today I'm talking about having a good set of grandparents, and this is my video for Truth About Growing Up. And I've got to say that my grandparents were proper grandparents, as I see it, because we would see them every Saturday, and sometimes we would put around Manny Rose during the week or on a Sunday. And I loved having grandparents. I now don't no longer have a grandparent in my life, but they were very influential as a kid. And I used to love it when me and my nan would walk down Northern Road in Fulham and buying stuff off the market. And also my nan was very into playing the slot machines, and I didn't realise that she was doing that at first, because I always used to wonder why she took ages to go shopping, but it's because that she loved going outdoors, and I see myself in the same way. There are times when I will stay in, but I am now going to try and venture out each day, because it does do the world of good just to pop out, and even if it's sitting in the garden for an afternoon. But I would have been very lost as a child if it wasn't for my grandparents. No offence to my actual parents, but they were proper grandparents where they would look after us, so to give my mum and my dad a break. And I feel like I have the same. I love my son to bits, but they, when he's here, I do like to focus on spending time with Henry. And when I was looking after Henry full term, sometimes I did find it a struggle as such, because I've been dealing with mental health issues. I kind of needed that break away from it, but now I'm ready to see my son a lot more, because I don't want him to see me being unwell. But my grandparents were, very similar in the fact that they would, pick me up still from playgroup, or pick me up from nursery, from school. And I used to love it when we used to go for walks in Holland Park and see if we could find any peacocks. And they were real guardians and carers. And when my nan was not well with shingles, I used to then start looking after her and would get her shopping, and I think that's what did me the world of good. And if you've got elderly grandparents, I would say lend them a hand. You start looking after them because of them looking after you. And I do believe you should always give back to what you receive. And I would love to be a grandparent one day, something that I do aspire to want to be. Obviously, I don't want to wish my son's life away. I want him to stay as a kid as long as possible. But when it comes to growing up, you do need good, influential people in your life, and I felt that I had that. I had a good grounding, and a good format where, if my mum wanted to, if my mum could pick me up, then my nan would, and they were so influential, and you could see that my parents kind of loved them being there as well. And even aunties and uncles I was very close to. I don't see them as much now, but it's good to have a good set of relatives when you're growing up, especially when you go through the emotions of puberty and all that, because it can be a very emotional, confusing time, because that's when you find out about your sexuality. And I am heterosexual, always have been. There was a time when I did question it, but that's because I questioned myself anyway. And that's something that my nan taught me, that you should never ever over criticise yourself. It's good to go through things that you can improve on, but don't spend all that time putting yourself down, and that's something that I'm really trying not to do. And that's what, my nan, she was someone who she never really wore makeup, she never really had to shave her legs, she would easily get suntanned, so, that does help me in good stead, but I need the makeup to make me feel good about myself, and I'm starting to understand that now. because I can never work out why my mum, for example, would put a face and makeup on going from the gym to home, but it's because it kind of stops you from feeling, oh God, look at the state of that girl in the mirror, you know. You want to look in the mirror and say, do you know what, I'm not that bad. You know, God was very giving in terms of my chest, which at one point I hated having boobs. I actually hated it, but now I've come to accept it. You know, there's nothing you can do about it because they're there. You know, for when you, because basically your body getting ready for when you are ready to have children. And obviously they're not just put in your chest for just the sake of it. They are what can potentially feed your baby. And so it's important that you look after your body as well. And my nans and my granddads were very into that, in personal care and being very hygienic. And also, I love the fact that my nan would, you know, make lots of food from scratch. She rarely ever bought. I knew until the end when she wasn't able to get out as much, she relied on ready-made meals. But because most of the meals that she used to make were homemade, and that's another thing I admire about her, and I've learned a lot from, because you do need to be domesticated in a way. You do need to be independent, because your parents are not always going to be around, you know, to manage those things for you. So it's important that you do things for yourself, and that you give yourself that attention. And having grandparents that were influential taught me that as well, taught me that, and to, you know, and to socially interact with other people. Of course, with lockdown, it's not been easy to do that, and you know, I've had to respect the social distancing, but it still doesn't mean that you can't talk to people that you know. And if you've got grandparents that have been on their own, perhaps go in and have a little chat with them, make a cup of tea. Sometimes when I used to finish work, when I worked in Camden, I would pick my nan and pick up my nan and myself some fish and chips. And it's just those types of things that really give me good memories, and have helped me to be feel good about myself, because of the way they were so influential in my growing up. So, you know, if you have grandparents, you know, don't take them for granted. Love them and be with them. And if it comes to the time where you need to look after them, then it's important that you do, you know, because, you know, they did it for you, so it's just good that you give back and you do that for them. So I hope that you find these videos helpful. I've got quite a few videos to schedule to go out, but I hope you've enjoyed this content, and I will do more of these types of videos. So take care, and I wish you very much well. Take care. Bye bye.